What is up, guys? So this is an overview of the first week of React. So let's get right into it. So basically, the first week we didn't really learn any React. What we did was go over a JavaScript review of some JavaScript elements, as you can see I have here, which I'm going to show. So one of the first things we reviewed was template literals. In temporary literals, it basically references other elements. I feel like it's easier if I show you. Like if I go to the console, and then if I trying to think of something. Let's do test 1 equals okay. So if I put something like this is a string, and if I wanted to reference that string, if I wanted to do, let's say, console.log, I can either do if I wanted to let's do okay plus, and then that string, what am I doing? It's test 1 plus okay man. So this should output okay man. But if you wanted to simplify this, you can use a template literal. So what you can instead do is you can do console.log, then you can use the backticks, and then you don't need the plus. So you can do test. Well, you have to put these. Then, because if you don't put these, it doesn't know that you're referencing a string or a variable in this case. So man, and you get the same thing, okay man. So it's much more intuitive. It makes it much easier to manage, just easier to read. It's overall just better. So that's one of the first things. But I kind of already knew this, but it was just a good review. So another thing we reviewed was objects. And objects, as you can see here, let me see if I have something up. Basically, an object is you can basically restore a lot of stuff in objects. So let me see if I can find a picture. Like here, for example, right here, you can see that you can have different types of keys, and I don't know the specific term for it, but I know you can have, I don't know specific terms for it, but you can have basically different values stored inside of the object. So if you want to like reference the value, you will have to put the a dot, and I feel like it's much easier to show you since I don't really know the terminology, but I know how it all works. I just don't know how to determine what the terminology is. I'm trying to think of an example. So if I wanted to do let's do something similar to that. If I want to do this, let's do this, and then animal. Let me see what they did. I'm gonna put animal cow, and trying to think of something else. Put food, milk. So once you click enter, you have made this object. So if you want to reference a specific value in this object, which is called zoo, you will have to do zoo dot animal or whatever you want to reference. And as you can see, it pops up, and you would basically do, if you want to reference a specific value inside of like with our example up here, you have to basically use the same thing with the dot. I think it's called dot notation, I believe. And you can also create functions inside of an object, but I believe they are called methods. Basically, a method is a function that you can create inside of an object. Like if we were to copy this, I hope it doesn't enter. If we were to copy this, and then you want to create a function inside of it, you can do that. But if you want to reference something inside of that function, you can you have to use this keyword. So that's another way you can do it. Like you want to do this dot animal, it will go to the top layer of the object, which is the zoo, and it will find whatever value animal is, and it will find whatever it's equal to. So yeah, and let me actually see if I can find a photo of a method, so it'll be easier. All right, method JavaScript. Spelled that wrong, but so yeah, and you can create a method either like this with the with just a bracket and the name of it. Like you can do test, and you can have a parameter right here, but you don't need one. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way with the actual function keyword. And I'm sure you already know how to create functions, or at least I hope so. Like traditional function. Yeah, you can find something on it. Yeah. So yeah, let's go past this. So the next thing we learned was classes, and right here I have it up. So classes are basically it's basically very similar to a function. It's pretty, once you think about it, it's pretty similar to a function. The only difference between a class and a function is that it's actually up right here, I didn't notice, but as you can see, a class basically stores the values inside of it, and you can call the class. But with a class, you can create new elements from it. Like, let me see if I have something up. Like here, a constructor is basically it's basically like if we were to go back to the an object. If I were to show you an object, let me get rid of this. Object JavaScript. Keep forgetting you gotta put in JavaScript. Where is it? So I'm trying to find a good photo. Like we're here, for example. So basically, what a constructor does here, it creates new values. Like if you were to have, like if you see right here, if you were to have name inside of the constructor, what it would do is create a value. Like let's say, for example, here it would create a new value called name, and it will assign whatever it is to it. So that's what that does. And to create a new class, what you would do is you have a new, and then you will reference whatever the class name is, and then you will name the class after that, and put the parameters with constructor elements in this case inside of the the, the parentheses. So it can get pretty, well, not complex, but it can be pretty confusing as far as the terminology goes. But I would say as long as you actually understand how it works, it's pretty easy to understand. You just have to like work on it a bit, do some examples. So after that, we learned some array methods. Let's see if I have anything up. Oh, here's actually a good example of classes. SQL Constructor. Yeah. So yeah, let's go class. Wait. Oh, array methods. Sorry about that. So array methods. We learned a few, but we didn't learn all of these. As far as I remember, we learned includes, we learned map, we learned filter, we learned reduce. I think we learned sorts. So yeah, we learned a few. And if you want to know more about array methods, you can literally just look it up in the documentation. It's really not that hard to find. And then you can probably find some examples of how to use it. Find some YouTube tutorials or whatever. But yeah. But what array methods does is it goes through a set of array values, and it does whatever you tell it to do. It's basically very similar to like a loop. Yeah, it's basically very similar to a loop, except it's a loop for array values. So yeah, let me see if I can actually find an example, like reduce JavaScript, and see if I could try to explain it. So if we go here, reduce, basically what reduce does is it reduces the set of arrays to one value. So whatever the function is, it will reduce it to one value. So if you were to start with this type of array with 5 values, it will reduce it to 20. And I think, I'm trying to read this, I think what it's doing in this case is, looks like it's just I'm trying to see n plus num. I can't really read this because I don't understand what these. But yeah, I don't know what this is specifically doing, but yeah, it just reduces it to this value. So yeah, you just have to like practice with it to understand how it works. Practice makes perfect. The more you practice with it, the more easier it'll be to understand. And that's pretty much it for week 1. We had a lot of like challenges because all we did was work on JavaScript review. I think we had like about 6 different challenges, and yeah, on top of the because every week we have a workshop project. Well, not a project, but I don't know, I forgot what it's called. It's like a little mini challenge, like a big mini challenge for Saturdays that we do after the live webinar, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it was pretty intense week 1. So I would say that if you're pretty weak on JavaScript, this is where you want to actually like take it very seriously, because even me having taken JavaScript courses and starting up JavaScript book, even some stuff is confusing me. So I can't imagine somebody who's coming in with even less knowledge of or understanding of JavaScript. I can't imagine what they're going through. So yeah, just work on JavaScript. Make sure you actually understand what's going on. Look at the documentation. Look at tutorials. Just make sure you understand it. So that's pretty much it for week 1. Nothing really else I can't remember. I'm looking at my notes. So that's pretty much it. Alright. Thanks for watching. Peace out. I have a week 2 update out soon. And in week 2 we actually started on React. So we learned some React stuff, which I'll go over in another video. Peace out.